see how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah, I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey, yeah, ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Do me a huge favor, smack up the like button on your way in. We got Miguel, is that Shadow? We got Michael in the chat. Appreciate you guys for being here. Anybody else, go ahead and make sure you show yourself here on the YouTube side of the comment section. Appreciate you guys for being here. Let me go and just do a real quick shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. BetUS. Looking for a brand new sports book? BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, if you use promo code YouTube150, they will provide you with a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on the following two. That's going to be using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. But ladies and gentlemen, let's go and dive right into it. Today, today we're going to be talking about Cardinals versus Rams. And if you guys already didn't know, no, we didn't post any content Tuesday or Wednesday. Happy belated Merry Christmas. Hopefully you and your family had a wonderful either Christmas or holidays or whatever you guys celebrate out there. Hopefully you guys spent some time with your family, got some good gifts, ate some good food, because I sure as heck did. So appreciate you guys for being here. Obviously, we're business as usual. Thursday, we got 2 days away between now and the Cardinals versus Rams game on Saturday. If you guys do not know, yes, the Cardinals are playing a Saturday game and not a Sunday game this week because it was flexed, because we thought that there was going to be some playoff implications. Little did we know, right? Little did we know that the Cardinals were going to lose to the Carolina Panthers and find themselves eliminated from playoff contention. And of course, we're not even going to talk about the NFC West, ladies and gentlemen. So a lot to dive into in this game. I know there's some people reaching out to me saying, are we going to do previews? We're probably not going to do any more previews for the remaining of the season. If you don't know what I'm talking about, usually we preview, the next opponent for the Cardinals. So this week is going to be Rams, and the next week's going to be the 49ers. The way that the season has shaken out, I'm not going to lie to you, ladies and gentlemen, it's been very, very, I don't think anybody cares anymore, right? I don't think anybody cares anymore. Now, most things that people are really going to look forward to is obviously the play of this offense. Is it going to get it fixed, or is it going to get corrected in the next two games, which I don't. Don't hold your breath. That's all I'm going to say. Don't hold your breath. If they haven't fixed it now, right, in the 15 weeks or 16 weeks prior, they're probably not going to fix it within these next two games. Like, let's call it like it is. But most people are really trying to figure out where the Cardinals are going to be landing in the draft, as well as how this offense is going to shake out for these next two games. Are they be competitive? Are they going to get blown out? And in this podcast, we're going to talk about, are the Cardinals going to bounce back, right? Are they going to bounce back in LA? And honestly, not to be the bearer of bad news, I just don't think this game's going to be very, very close for the Cardinals. I think that the Rams are going to try to pay back what we did to them in week 2 versus the Rams. And honestly, this might be a very, very, very scary game. But like Jonathan Gannon said, you got to go through the process. You got to go and play the next game. But right now, the Cardinals can either finish off the 2024 season with 7 wins, 8 wins, or 9 wins. Let me ask you guys in the chat, where do you think the Cardinals are going to finish off the 2024 season in terms of win total, right? Win total. Let me know in the chat here. Do you think we're going to finish off with 8 wins, 9 wins, or do you think we're going to finish off with 7 wins? Let me know here in the chat below. And while you're chatting, do me a huge favor, smack up the like button here on your way in. Because, yeah, we're going to talk about Cardinals versus Rams here, ladies and gentlemen. Cardinals versus Rams. So, big talking point, will the Cardinals bounce back in LA? Now, we already got one of my guy here, one and only, saying 8. So, you think there's going to be a win, maybe 49ers is what you're thinking? I don't know what the 49ers game is going to look like, honestly. I'm going to be really honest. I don't think the Cardinals stand a snowballing chance versus the Rams. I just don't know what they're going to look like versus the 49ers. They can very potentially be an 8-win team leaving this season, but honestly, at the end of the day, we'll just have to kind of wait and see how this shakes out. Like, we'll just have to kind of, like, honestly, all the people that I have talked to off the camera, I don't really think there's very much excitement for the season anymore. I think the excitement is done, man. The excitement is done. I mean, and I think one of the biggest reasons as to why is because you you go through the entire season believing in an organization, believing in a team that they could finally get it fixed, right? They could finally get it changed, right? And the whole narrative right now within the Arizona Cardinals is it's the same old Cardinals, man. It's the same old Cardinals. You started off 6-4. And if we can freeze frame right there at that point of the season, 6-4. That was progress. That was progress for the 2024 Arizona Cardinals right there. That snapshot was the direction that the Cardinals need to be going in right there. That 6-4 start that nobody thought that we're going to go on a 4-game winning streak right there. That snapshot was progress right there. And then shortly after the bye week, the crash and burn of the 2024 Arizona Cardinals, right? And it's one of those things that you always kind of go back to, the same old Cardinals. And I hate saying it, man. I really do, because I had hope. I had hope. I had faith that the Cardinals were going to be able to change it. I had faith that Kyler Murray was going to prove all the doubters out there wrong, right? And there has been people out there that it's actually been in front of this whole Kyler Murray thing way before I was, right? So shout out to you guys out there that's been calling this out for a very long time. And me being the fan that I was trying to hold on to hope. Trying to hold on. The hope is wintered away, though, man. There's not very much hope right now. So do I feel like the Cardinals, will they bounce back in LA? I don't know, man. I really don't know. I don't think this Cardinals organization has it in them. I don't think they have the fire in the gut. I really don't. I think this is going to get ugly real quickly. I think it's going to get ugly real quickly. Now, Jonathan Gannon did speak to the media, obviously, within the last couple of days to kind of get ready for this Rams game. And he said something that really made a lot of people mad. And it was because, obviously, there's a lot of Cardinal fans that are turned off. A lot of Cardinal fans that are turned off right now. I'm curious to figure out how many people are going to show up in that last game. I'm very curious, and I mean Cardinal fans, because if you do not know, we got 2 more games left. We got an away game. We're going to LA, right, versus the Rams. And then that last game is the last game here at home. I'm so curious to figure out what that attendance is going to look like. So curious to figure out because most of the Cardinal fans that I've talked to, right, in the DMs, they're tuned out, man. They're tuned out. There was somebody that told me, "Oh, my Sunday's freed up. My Sunday's freed up, and now I can focus on what really matters, right? Family." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. That's cool, right?" Not a lot of people right now are paying attention to the 2024 Arizona Cardinals, and I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you one bit. Did I try to sell a bag of goods? Yeah, because I believed, man. I believed. I got sucked into it too. I got sucked into that 6-4 start. I got sucked into it. And then what do you know, man? What do you know? The Cardinals are now, what is it, 1-4 after the bye week, right? Is it 1-4 after the bye week? They lost to the Rams, they lost to the Seahawks twice, and then you lost to the Panthers. Yeah, 1-4. And then you got the Rams, which was supposed to be a big pivotal game. It was supposed to be, but nobody. I mean, I guess some people predicted that we're going to lose to the Panthers because they've had our number. But this game on Saturday was supposed to be a lot more pivotal than it is. But right now, of course, Jonathan Gannon also was asked if Kyler was going to play. I understand the thought process why the media ended up asking Jonathan Gannon if Kyler was going to play, but the way Jonathan Gannon ended up responding, he was like, "Of course he's. Why wouldn't he play? Right? Why wouldn't he play? I mean, well, because you don't really have a lot to fight for, right? In terms of like making sure that you keep him healthy, right? That I guess that's where that media member was coming from, to potentially keep him healthy. But JG said, as long as you're healthy and you can play, you're going to play. So all we can hope for is everybody staying healthy within these next 2 games and getting ready for the 2025 season. If you do not know, Paris Johnson Jr. and Jonah Williams are bookends at the offensive side of the line. So our left tackle in Paris Johnson Jr. and then Jonah Williams on the right side. They're done, man. They're done for the season. Both of them have been placed on IR. They both of them have been rolled out earlier this week. I believe they were rolled out on Monday or Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. But the announcement came out that their seasons are done. They're done. They're done for the season. So that means hopefully Kyler Murray can stay upright, because this pass rush from the LA Rams is going to be no joke. It's gonna be no joke. So let's see, right? A couple things to look out for. Do I expect the Cardinals to win? I don't. I really don't. I don't want to get blown out, right? As a Cardinal fan, I don't want to get blown out, but the realization is they might. They just might. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, what happened in week 2, right? Keep in mind what happened in week 2 here versus the Cardinals and the Rams. We took it to them. We obliterated them when they were at their lowest in week 2. We obliterated the Rams, right? 41-10. You don't think they're going to want to pay back that favor, right? You don't think so? I think this is going to get bad. It's going to get bad. Thomas in the chat says, I bought a new Kyler Murray jersey, but declined my payment and sent it back. That's funny, Thomas. Here's the thing, right? The question right now of Kyler Murray has been top of mind on everybody's mind, right? Kyler Murray spoke to the media as well. Jonathan Gannon spoke to the media. Buda Baker spoke to the media. And I don't know, man, right? With what you heard from Jonathan Gannon when he was originally signed to be the head coach, I was expecting a little bit more intensity. I'm not going to lie to you, right? The whole fire in the gut. He's expecting violent players. That's what we want this team to be. Man, we're far from that, man. You can't expect, you can't lose to the Panthers and say we're a violent team. You can't, right? So I was expecting a little bit more from JG, a little bit more fire, right? Because he also did say, and I believe it was the press conference on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, I think he said something along the lines of he understands why people are disappointed, but the joy is competition for them, right? The people that are sitting in his seat, right? And I'm obviously he's talking about him and the players, right? The joy is competition, ladies and gentlemen. The joy is competition. So like that really pissed off a lot of people. That really pissed off a lot of people because it almost kind of feels like one of those answers. And here's the thing, JG might have meant something completely different than how it came out. That's a possibility. But yeah, you don't want to hear A, your quarterback's a warrior, and B, the joy is competition when you just lost to the Panthers, right? You don't want to hear that stuff, man. And it's kind of, it goes back to one of those things, man, where you're just, you got to be, you can't be tone deaf, man. You can't be tone deaf. And right now it seems like the Cardinals right now are in their own little world. Like they're in their own little world of progression. Like they're like, we won 7 games. Like we're so much better than year 1 of Jonathan Gannon because we won 7 games. But they're not acknowledging the fact of the Cardinals having one of the, declining like badly. Like we declined bad. Like it was bad. We're 1-4 after the bye week right now. 1-4. You got swept by the Seahawks and Geno Smith in a rookie head coach. You got beat by 1 point versus the Vikings. And if you want to take a little bit of moral victory versus the Vikings, I guess you can take the moral victory there if you want. Still a loss. At the end of the day, it's still a loss. Nobody cares about, oh, you almost had it, right? Oh, that almost like a moral victories, that's for year 1 of a rebuild, not year 2. Right? You can't be celebrating stuff like that because then you're putting it in these players' heads like, oh, it's okay, right? You only lost by a point. Come on. Get that out of your head. And of course, we know what happened versus Carolina, right? It's a snowball down effect that's happening because this team can't get it right, man. This team can't get it right. This offense has never been able to figure out any consistency, right? The biggest consistency of this team is inconsistency. That's it. Like that's the biggest consistency. This offense was supposed to be the bright spot of the 2024 Arizona Cardinals. And don't get it twisted here, right? I'm going to quote JG here. He says that we were going to win games in year 1, and yeah, we did, right? We did, but you started off 6-4 on the season, right? You started off 6-4, and now you're 1-4. Like the you're supposed to climb up. Right? You're supposed to be climbing. You're supposed to be progressing as the year goes on, not regressing. And that's what the Cardinals are doing. They're regressing right now. Badly. They're regressing. And if you can't acknowledge that, then I mean, I don't know what to tell you, right? Now the 2025 roster is probably going to look different. The 2025 roster is going to be hopefully funded by all this money that we have. Not gonna lie to you, I have a little bit of a pause because of Monty Austin Ford and the players that he's brought in already so far. eh, they haven't been big impactful players, right? With the exception of two people. That's it. Two people. In 2 years, Monty Fort has brought in two impactful players on free agency. That's it. That's it. Kazir White and Mac Wilson Sr. That's it. Everybody, unfortunately, has gotten hurt or not been as good as they thought they were going to be, right? So I'm not gonna lie to you. I have a little concern. I have a little pause when it comes down to when people say, "Oh, well, we got $100 million, man. We got $100 million next year." Well, you got to look at it in my shoes. I don't believe in our franchise quarterback right now that has yet to win as the division, that has yet to win a big game, right? And we had plenty of big games to win this year, right? Plenty of big games to win this year, and they just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it at all. So 2025, although I want to believe this $100 million or $90 million that we have to spend, I don't know, man. The history tells us otherwise, right? History tells us otherwise. You're going to back up a franchise quarterback, which we'll talk about Kyler Murray right now. It's trending in the direction that he most likely will come back, right? It's trending in that direction that he most likely will come back. And one of the biggest reasons as to why it's not performance, or at least I hope it's not performance, right? In their eyes, because if this coaching staff thinks it's based on performance why he's coming back, then these guys are as clueless as they come, right? Clueless as they come. He's coming back because of contracts, man. We're kind of stuck with Kyler. We're stuck with him, right? And that's not a good feeling to have. It really is. It isn't a good feeling to have as a fan base where you're stuck with your franchise quarterback. Now, can he win you games? Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yeah. I would rather have Kyler than John Skelton, right? Than Matt Leinart or Kevin Kolb, right? Or any of these other guys that we had to go through all these bumps and bruises, right? Of course. But if you're never ever going to be fighting for a division, let alone even a Super Bowl, that's the Super Bowl's. I'm not even going to talk Super Bowl right now. Like, then what's the point? You know what I mean? What's the point? So right now, I know there's a lot of people that want to lose these next two games. Honestly, I'm not going to put too much weight into these next two games. If we lose, we lose. Um, if we finish off 1-1, 0-2, 2-0, well, we'll react to it all together, one and the same, right? Well, there's no skin off my back right now, honestly. Of course, if you're 0-2, there's gonna be a lot of frustrations, but we'll handle it then, right? We'll handle it then. I think I've sold enough bag of fake goods in the 2024 season to say that this team was going to be a playoff team when everything was in front of them, right? Shame on me. Shame on me for believing in this organization that thought that, hey, there's no way we can go 0-3 in these next three games, two Seahawks and one Vikings, right? There's no way, I said. There's no way we can go 0-3. Little did I know, man. Little did I know. So it's one of those things, man. I think they're probably going to keep everybody. Now, here, keep this in mind too. If the Cardinals somehow get blown out in these next two games, things can change, right? And that's one thing that people don't understand. Things change weekly. Things change weekly, right? As a Cardinal fan base, we're upset that we lost to the Panthers, right? Most people are tuned off. What are you gonna show me as a fan? Although I'm still gonna be watching, I'm still gonna be doing the live play-by-plays. But what are you gonna show me that's gonna get me excited about 2025? I'm sorry, 2025, right? What are you gonna do that's gonna show me different, right? They haven't figured it out since now, right? What are you gonna show me? I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see how this shakes out. But let me say one thing. If the Cardinals finish off 0-2 in the remaining of these games and get blown out, woo, there might be heads rolling. There might be heads rolling. There just might be heads rolling. Now, on the other side of the coin, I do also understand that the Cardinals organization is very, very built on a progression, right? They're always, and here's the reason why I say that. Do you remember after year two, where the Cardinals could have potentially made a playoff run in year two of Cliff Kingsbury, where we had, I believe it was the Rams and the 49ers to beat one of these guys? Like, we had to play backup quarterbacks, right? We had to play backup quarterbacks, and we couldn't do it, right? We couldn't do it. we couldn't get over the hump to get into the playoffs. Does anybody remember that year 2 of Cliff Kingsbury? There was a very, very clear path to get into the playoffs, and the Cardinals squandered it, right? And from that moment on, I was like, man, Cliff Kingsbury's not the guy, right? I was pissed off. I was like, man, that's ridiculous. But we ended up coming back into the year 3. We had a really good start to the season. Of course, we all knew how that came out. We got back into the playoffs. Sorry, we got back ended into the playoffs. We didn't deserve it, but what we did in the beginning of the season helped us get into the playoffs then. And then, of course, we all know what happened in year 4, right? But after that year 2, man, I was like, if you can't beat 2 backup QBs as a head coach, something's wrong, right? And that's kind of how I feel right now with JG. I'm not out on JG like I was on Cliff, but JG right now, especially if the Cardinals decide to bring back Kyler Murray in year 3, which most likely they are, you are tying your career to the success of Kyler. You know what I mean? So JG, although you might like him, right, as a person, I think he's an awesome human being. I actually met him. Cool dude, cool guy, man. It's just you're tying your career to what Kyler Murray does. And if you believe in Kyler, do you think he's going to fix it? Then good for you. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not one of those guys that feel like that, right? I don't think he's going to put us in the position to win a Super Bowl ever, let alone a freaking playoff game or even the division. Just I'm not there. I'm not there. But there's going to be a lot of turnaround. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of turnaround. Maybe not big names, right? Maybe not big names, but this roster is going to get turned over. But it's what's been happening, right? Since JG and Monty Austin-Ford has taken over. We favor draft picks. We want to build through the draft. And unfortunately, so far, we still haven't found that one superstar, right? Superstar. Because although we can gloat about Paris Johnson Jr., which I still do think Paris Johnson Jr. is a stud, right? Unfortunately, got hurt. He's done for the remaining of the 2024 season. Marvin Harrison Jr., although I like his numbers and I think his numbers are good, there's a lot of people out there that don't feel like he's, exceeded the expectations that most people thought, right? Especially when you got 2 rookie wide receivers that got picked after you that's performing in terms of yardage, right? And also play style, right? Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. So, Monty so far has been meh, right? He's been okay, right? But what's your alternative is Keim, right? That seems to be the bar, right? That seems to be the bar. Keim was not a good drafter at all. He was terrible. He was god-awful at drafting, but he did make some really good splash moves, right? Free agency was too. Like, I don't think he did really great in free agency. His trades is what really got him to keep his job for as long as he did, right? So far, Monty is, I think, good at drafting. I'm not saying great, but I think he's good. And then he's meh in free agency. He's going to have a lot of money this year, so let's see what he does. Maybe that meh can change into good or great. And then the trades have been right? I feel like we've lost a lot of the trades that so far the Cardinals have done. So, 2025, let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens. All we can do is go in with hopeful eyes and hopefully something can change. But I don't, there's nothing that, unless we win the division or a playoff game, I think my stance will still stay right now with the franchise quarterback that we currently have right now. This organization does things their way, right? They always want to be the smartest in the room, right? And because a progression happened this year, everybody might stay. And for the people out there that want Drew Petzing gone, I only really see Drew Petzing leaving unless we get blown out these next 2 weeks. Now, to be honest with you, to me, if I was the owner, you lose to the Panthers, that's a criminal offense right there. That's a criminal offense. You lose to the Panthers, that's a criminal offense right there, right? But I don't know, man. In year 3, is Jonathan Gannon coming back? I don't know. Let's see what happens. Most likely he will. Most likely he will. Because keep in mind, I was raving about Cliff Kingsbury after year 2, right? And they kept him anyways for 2 more years. So I already see people in the chat already telling me, oh man, Gannon should go. Well, I mean, even though you want to believe it, do you think the Cardinals are going to do it? That's the question, right? That's the question. I don't know. I somehow feel like they're going to wrap this season up with a pretty bow and say, "Oh, well, we won 3 more games." Right? They're going to wrap the season up and say, "Oh, we won 3 more games, man. That's progress, baby. That's progress, baby." It's a very, very unfortunate way of doing things, and you ask yourself, why are the Arizona Cardinals the oldest team that has only had success in very, very minimal spurts? S situations like this. Situations like this. They're not bold enough to do things like the Eagles do. They're not bold enough to do things like the Green Bay Packers do, right? And what I'm saying is drafting a quarterback when you got your successor right in front of you, right? Aaron Rodgers, Wentz, although Wentz was hurt and it was probably Foles, but that took that got that Super Bowl from them, but still, you know what I mean? We're not bold enough to do things like that. We're not trendsetters. We're trend followers, right? But a lot of the times when you're a follower of trends, you know, a team can get very, very lucky because they started a trend. But a lot of the times these trends they're not the blueprint to be successful, right? Most of the time. So when the Cardinals trying to jump on a trend, they either A, don't get it right, or B, can't follow a trend correctly. So they're rebuilding in the next 2 or 3 years. I mentioned this in this last video that I just posted here a little less than an hour ago, or maybe a little over an hour ago now, since looking at the time. What I would love from this Cardinals organization is to have a backup plan at quarterback. Have a backup plan. Now, these next 2 games, the Rams and the 49ers, if the Cardinals get blown out, I don't know what's going to happen, right? But seeing what the Cardinals have done in these past years, I can only equate to, man, oh man, oh man, they're going to put a bow on this, right, in the season and say it's progress. And people are going to eat it up. People are going to eat it up because, yeah, it's from 4 wins to 7 wins. Although you started off at 6-4 at one point and completely crumbled and crashed at the end of the season, right? Nothing will ever change until we change. That's it. Fans, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about me, right? Nothing will ever change until we change. Until we stop accepting progress in this very minimal way, nothing will ever change. It will continue to be the same thing over and over and over again. I'm sorry to say it. I'm sorry. It's the way that it is. Now, you can believe. That's fine. You believe Kyler Murray can win you the Super Bowl or playoff or division. That's fine. Believe what you want to believe, but believe what will help you sleep better at night, right? I'm out, man. I don't believe in it. I'm always going to watch my Arizona Cardinals. I love football. Love my team. Cardinals team, right? But in terms of belief, it's out the window, man. That's out the window for me. I just don't believe in what he can accomplish. I've had a long enough sample size to see and show myself that he cannot win big games. He can't. Can't win big games. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We got Joe in the chat saying Gannon is good. We need a new OC and more defensive guys who know how to play. I mean, right now, and here's the thing, right? With Jonathan Gannon, I got no ill will on Jonathan Gannon right now. I think he's a fantastic human being. I think that at one point he was trending this team in the right direction. But I'm not gonna lie to you. When he says things like joy is in the competition, and he says things like our quarterback is a warrior when you lose to the Panthers, right? Say that doesn't help, right? And hearing we got to give credit to the opposing team, that doesn't help. That doesn't help at all, right? And it might be because I really liked what Bruce Arians has done in his Arizona Cardinals organization, right? The no risk it, no biscuit, the brash mentality, calling your first round picks knee deep, right? Maybe that's because that's the era that I fell in love with when it comes down to this Arizona Cardinals organization, like that type of competitive football, actual football, right? Football that's a man's sport, right? That's what I fell in love with. And that might be why I keep bringing up, but like, you don't want to hear your head coach saying things like the joy is competition. We're done. We're cooked. The season is over, right? Because the Cardinals could not take advantage of the situation that was laid out in front of them, right? A lot of questions was asked about trap game. Can this be a trap game? People were asking Kyler and Jonathan Gannon. But then they laughed it off and said, well, we're not a good enough team for this to be a trap game. But we were a 7-win team to a 3-win team. You're telling me there's no tiers of bad, right? Because to me, I thought we were a mid team. I thought we were middle of the line, right? So if you're playing a quote unquote bad team, that is a trap game. You should be a team that's bad, right? Quote unquote bad. We got beat. We got beat in overtime by a bad team on record. Now, yes, they've been trending in the right direction. It wasn't going to be easy. Bryce Young was actually starting to kind of hit another level, making some really good throws, standing in the pocket, doesn't care that he gets whipped on, right? But that's a team you needed to beat. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I don't think Jonathan Gannon right now should be in the hot seat. But next year in 2025, you're going to you're going to tie your career to Kyler, right? You're going to tie it to Kyler. Hope you believe, man. Hope you believe. Because although we all might think Jonathan Gannon is great, right? Great human being, quirky, but great, cool. Year 3 is enough to find out if you're the guy or not, right? Year 3 is enough to find out if you're the guy or not. So we'll see. We'll see. Fat Boy just says, bring back Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians wants nothing to do with this organization, man. He wants nothing to do with this organization. I truly believe that Bruce Arians was forced out of this coaching role. I truly believe it. I have no backup, any evidence, but that's what I believe. I feel like Keim and Michael Bidwell was trying to force his hand to get rid of one of his guys, either coordinator, and he didn't want to. He's like, we keep him or I retire. He retired. He went to broadcasting, which he wasn't really good at broadcasting. He went back to be head coach of the Tampa Bay Bucks and won him a Super Bowl with Brady, right? So, yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see what happens. What's up, Shadow? He says, I promise you, he's the reason we stayed in most of these games. Are you talking about... are you talking about Kyler? Put Kyler Murray on the Vikings right now, or the Lions. But that's the thing, too, right? We always want to tell ourselves, put this guy in this offense, right? And you might be right. Sam Darnold, what Sam Darnold's doing right now with the Vikings is nuts. Everybody said Sam Darnold was a bust. Everybody said Sam Darnold was terrible, right? But you're right. I mean, maybe he might be better somewhere else. But then then why have him? If we don't know how to use him and we can't win with him, we're just hoping and praying that we're finally going to get it right. Like, is this a situation where Drew Petzing got into Kyler Murray's head and said, hey, you need to check these balls down, or the ball needs to go where the ball needs to go? For some reason, Kyler Murray is not functioning like 2021 Kyler anymore. At all. And we want to relive these glory days of Kyler Murray used to be this guy. I don't think he's that guy anymore. He's not that guy anymore, guys. It's over. He's not there anymore, right? The offensive line, although had some bad games here and there, they're one of the best offensive lines. Look at the stats. They're one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Obviously, when they were healthy. Right now, of course, you don't have Paris Johnson. You don't have Jonah Williams. But when Kelvin Beachum was in there for Jonah, they were keeping Kyler upright. They were doing a pretty darn good job. Now, if you want to start blaming it on the wide receivers, you blame whatever your heart desires. That's all I'm going to say. But what I know and what I see when I look back at the film is that there's plays to be made up the middle of the field. There is plays to be made up the middle of the field. And that is on your quarterback for not throwing the ball in the middle of the field. This offense is dink and dunk. And it's not Drew Petzing's fault in terms of like his fault. Everybody's got a share of blame into this, right? So if you're sitting back and saying, oh, we'll put Kyler Murray on the San Francisco 49ers or the Lions but okay, well, how does that help us? How? If we don't know how to use them and we can't win with them, how does that help us, right? Just because we think we think he's going to do good. Kyler Murray has not played like Kyler Murray that we're used to in 2021. We've seen some flashes here and there, and I even admitted myself, I was like, man, this is glimpses of 2021 Kyler. I said to myself, sometime this year, I forgot what game it was, but there was glimpses of hope of, man, that's what he could become. He's showing us a lot more that he can't be that than he has shown us that he can. So what else? What else? What do we need to be proved? What else do we need to be proved? I mean, you move him to a different team, he might succeed. Okay, well, how does that help us? Explain to me, how does that help us? If we had another Trey McBride as a speedster, it's always going to be something, man. It's always going to be something. There's no way that there's no way that Trey McBride, one of the best tight ends right now, does not have a touchdown. There's no way on any other team, right? Can't we say the same thing? If Trey McBride was in another team, he would have had 4 or 5 or 6 touchdowns, right? Can't we say the same thing? But there's been multiple balls that's been sailed over the head of Trey McBride when he's your tallest weapon out there. Balls have been sailed over Trey McBride, and he's been missed in the end zone as well because Kyler Murray can't see. And this is not a knock, and I'm not trying to make fun. I don't do these COD jokes. I don't do these no, I don't do any of those jokes, but there's a real problem with him seeing players in the middle of the field. And it's been like that since we've switched over to the Drew Petzing. This Drew Petzing offense, which he was raving about. Does anybody remember? He was like, yeah, Drew Petzing's a genius, he said. Kyler says Drew Petzing was a genius. Has anybody forgot that? He says Drew Petzing's a genius. He loves that he doesn't have to play Superman. Anybody remember that? Are we just going to forget that he was on team Drew Petzing? Now people want to fire him, bring in somebody else. At some point, the fingers got to stop blaming around, man. At some point, the fingers got to stop blaming around. Trey McBride, there's no way that he still hasn't have a touchdown now. No way. Have we tried? Yeah, of course. The offensive coordinators tried to get him the ball either with a shovel pass and just trying to get Trey McBride in the freaking end zone. It just hasn't happened. Why? Why? Ask yourself, why? And for as all the criticisms that we have on Marvin Harrison Jr., his numbers look pretty darn good. Numbers, right? His numbers look pretty good. Numbers. Does he not look physical? Does he not look fast sometimes? Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I still think he was the 4th overall pick regardless. I still think he's the pick. But if you can't acknowledge the elephant in the room and that there is a big deficiency in the quarterback play, I don't know how to have a conversation with you. I really don't. I really don't. Quarterback can either make you or break you as a team, right? And that's the reason why MVPs are mainly quarterbacks. Of course, Saquon Barkley and I think maybe even Henry might be in the mix of MVP. But there's a reason why, for the most part, MVPs are quarterbacks. Because that's the most important position on the field on the offensive side of the ball. There's a reason for that, right? But all we want to do is just excuse. That's all. It's we do want it. 2025, we're probably going to run it back with $100 million. And let's see what happens. Hope you're right. That's all I got to say. I hope you're right. Chris F., what's up, man? He says, let's not bring up Josh Allen to help Kyler, bro. They are worlds apart. Plus, Josh Allen makes up for those mistakes. And that's the thing, too. A lot of people, like, I've noticed, too, as well, Patrick Mahomes, especially in the beginning of the season, has had probably one of his worst statistical seasons in his career, right? Can we all acknowledge Patrick Mahomes has not had the best statistical season, especially in the beginning of the season? It's so funny to me that people were telling me that Patrick Mahomes and Kyler Murray had, or Kyler Murray had a better QBR than Patrick Mahomes. Like, it almost kind of feels like people forget what these players have accomplished in the NFL, right? Like, that doesn't exist to some people, right? Like, people were telling me that, man, Kyler Murray's QBR was better than, he's one of the top, right? QBR has stopped being talked about recently, and it might be because I've been shining a light that it's so dumb that people are focusing on QBR, right? Because, of course, if you're dinking and dunking all up the field, and you finish off the game with 24 of 28 with 167 yards or 200 yards and a touchdown, 2 interceptions, or a touchdown and 1 interception, your QBR rating is based off of how many completions you have, right? How many completions, how many touches, all that is influenced by what a QBR rating is, right? So I don't understand why people are really hanging their hats on. And there's no way anybody should even be putting Kyler Murray in the same conversation as A, Lamar Jackson, B, Josh Allen, C, Patrick Mahomes, and probably about 3 or 4 other quarterbacks out there. There's no way anybody should be putting Kyler Murray in anybody's conversation like that at all. Kyler Murray has not accomplished nothing in this league. Nothing. You want to give him 2 Pro Bowls? Cool. Okay, give him 2 Pro Bowls. You want to give him Rookie of the Year? Okay, cool. Give him Rookie of the Year. Who are your other options at QB? Gardner Minshew? Who's your other option? Daniel Jones? Those are your other options? Come on. Okay, congratulations. You won Rookie of the Year. You won 2 Pro Bowls, or maybe 3. I think it was 2. Congratulations. What have you done with the Arizona Cardinals? Nothing. Nothing. You do nothing. Nothing. But then no. But people want to talk about Patrick Mahomes. He's got a better QBR rating than Patrick. Get over it. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson are in completely different night and day wavelengths. And if you can't see that now, 2025, give me a crystal ball, and we'll see what happens then. Because I know probably most likely we're going to be running it back, which it's not a good thing to say. It doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies to say, oh, we're running it back. Here we go. Year 7, Kyler Murray is going to have his aha moment. He's going to have his come to Jesus moment. No, he is who he is. He is who he is. Does this offense not fit him? Probably, right? But he was raving and excited about him not having to play Superman. Okay, well then who do you go for then, right? All we do is point the fingers around everybody. That's all we do. We don't want to acknowledge the elephant in the room, right? But most of those people that are on team Kyler Murray stands, the moment he gets shipped off, they're going to do the same thing for the new QB. So I don't take it too personal, right? A lot of people don't like to push the needle, right? A lot of people don't like to push and be in quote unquote negative, right? People don't want to say, oh, I don't want to put my take on there because I'm afraid to be wrong. Guess what? I'm wrong all the damn time. I can give 2 toots. I'm wrong a lot. I can give a rip. So people would rather not say that with hopes and prayers that something can happen. Man, I've seen 6 years already and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed, man. Nothing has changed. So culturally, I thought we were trending in the right direction. We still very well can be trending in the right direction, but it might take a smackdown in this coming Saturday. Cardinals versus Rams. It might take a smackdown, which I don't know, man. I don't think this game's gonna be pretty. I really don't think this game's gonna be pretty. If you think the Cardinals are gonna beat the Rams, man, love your belief. Give me some of that. Whatever you're drinking, give me some of that. That positive juice, that purple drink. I don't know what you're drinking. Give me some of that, because I don't know anybody that's going to sit back and say this team is going to give the Rams something, right? The taste of it. No. This game's going to be ugly to me. This game's going to get ugly. What's up, Shadow? My guy in the chat says Patrick Mahomes got people on his team, though. All we have is McBride, Connor, and Kyler Murray with Budda Baker. Well, keep in mind, I mean, didn't we say the same thing about this is arguably Patrick Mahomes' worst wide receiving core that he's had, right? Now, granted, in the beginning of the season, he had Rashee Rice, which he's actually done really, really well. They're starting to get some pieces back here and there, but regardless, right? Statistically, Patrick Mahomes is not having the best statistic. What am I trying to say? Not having the best statistics in terms of like his numbers, right? This year is not the best. Now, he's actually had a really good game this last game, but it's not been Patrick Mahomes, right? But even then, like, you can't compare Kyler to Patrick. You just can't. Patrick Mahomes is a what? 2-time, 3-time Super Bowl winner? right? I know they're gonna try to go for a three-peat, right? Because they were back to back, but I could have sworn he won another one. I think he's got 3 under his belt right now, right? How? How does anybody even look themselves in the mirror and try to take that take to the grave? No, man. If you want to be considered one of those guys, those top echelon type of type of quarterbacks, you got to win the division, man. You got to win your division. You got to prove that you're dominant, and that's not what we proved at all. I don't know if anybody proves that they have done that at all. And I'm very, very surprised that, man, we got some people out here that will take their takes to the grave. They will say, here's the thing. It might be because they came into this organization because of Kyler. And if that's the case, if you came and became an Arizona Cardinal fan because of Kyler Murray, then I understand that, right? I understand it. If you came into this organization because Kyler Murray, then I understand where your stance is. I get it, right? It's kind of how I feel with Marvin, right? Because if anybody says anything negative about Marvin, here I come. I'm coming. No, don't you say it, right? So I understand it. I don't blame you for your take. It is what it is. Take it to the grave. That's okay. If you were a Cardinal fan because of Kyler since 2019, or hey, you maybe jumped on the wagon in 2021 because he had a really good career or really good season, right? Until of course, the departure of the playoffs. If that's the case, then I don't blame you. Most Cardinal fans that are feeling the way that they're feeling is because you've seen 6 years already, right? You either have it or you don't, right? You either have it or you don't. It's crazy to me that we gave up on Josh Rosen after a year, and I'm not saying Josh Rosen's better, okay? Hear me out, right? Hear me. I'm not saying Josh Rosen's better. But you gave up on Josh Rosen after a year. Kyler Murray comes back. So Josh Rosen won what? 4 games, 3 games, something like that. Kyler Murray wins what? 5.5 games in his first year, but you're seeing progress, right? You're seeing some progression. You pay him real quick, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was one of those guys that wanted to get him paid too, because the faster you get him paid, it's cheaper in the long run, right? Because you were seeing progress, you were seeing things that happen, right? But with what you're seeing in the 6-year sample size, Kyler Murray's not getting better, man. He's really not. He's kind of plateauing at this is who you are. This is who you are. You crash and burn at the end of the season when the lights shine the brightest, when we need you the most, right? And I'm talking about the whole Cardinal fan base, right? When the fans need you the most, you throw what? 5, 6 picks in 5 games? You know what I mean? You don't do that as a franchise quarterback, right? You don't do that as a franchise quarterback. And you get Marvin Harrison Jr. for the 4th overall pick, and he was like, "Oh, we're up." Right? Remember that video that was swirling around? Kyler Murray excited about Marvin Harrison Jr. getting picked up. We all were excited, right? We were all fascinated. We were all excited about, man, we finally got our wide receiver 1, and we still can have our wide receiver 1. I want to be clear, we still can have our wide receiver 1. It's just how are you not? How is this connection not there, right? How is this connection not there? Who's to blame? Is it Marv? But how do you blame a rookie? How do you blame a guy coming into the NFL, which has his woes, right? Has his, man, he does not look good in this sense. He should have got that touchdown, and Christian Gonzalez ripped that out of his hand, right? In the last 2 throws in the end of that game versus the Panthers, he should have caught those balls. 100% agree with you. But it's a rookie wide receiver at the end of the day with what? Close to 700 yards on the season. 7 touchdowns is that the stats? Let me just double check. You got 726 yards, 7 touchdowns on the season. Like, you look at those numbers and you're like, dang, that's a rookie right there. That's a rookie. And that's with his flaws. That's with his flaws of not being aggressive. That's with his flaws of not getting the contested catches, right? So how has this not been corrected yet, right? How has that not been corrected yet? A lot of people want to go back to our offensive line is bad. Our offensive line was actually pretty darn decent all freaking year long. Of course, we went through injuries, but we kept Kyler Murray upright. We kept him upright. For the most part, we kept him upright. And if you don't believe it, look at PFF. Look at him. The offensive line was actually pretty darn good. Of course, we were better with Will Hernandez in there. Unfortunately, he got hurt, right? Of course, Calvin Beachum looked to be a better suitable option, but the Cardinals made the choice that they got him in free agency. They were trying to ride the woes of seeing what Jonah Williams can do at the right tackle. Struggled a little bit, but for the most part, I mean, he did decent, right? We were not bad of an offensive line. People want to blame offensive line for what? They were actually pretty darn good. They were pretty good. So then you go back to, is this Drew Petzing? Is this Kyler, right? That's the biggest debate right now. Now, of course, it's much easier to get rid of an offensive coordinator than it is a quarterback. If the Cardinals somehow get beat, and I mean beat down by the Rams and the 49ers, right? To the point where we shouldn't have been on the same field, then there might be some changes being made, right? Then there might be some changes being made. Now, those changes, what are those changes going to entail? I don't know. Let's see what Monty Austin for, Michael Bidwell, let's see what they decide to do. But right now, the way that I hear Jonathan Gannon speak, the way I hear Drew Petzing speak, the way I hear Kyler Murray speak, there is no fire in their gut. There's no worriness that their year is over in 2025, right? Jonathan Gannon is continuing can continue to say he's going to Kyler Murray puts us in the best position to win games. That's what he thinks, and that he's right. He is the best quarterback on the field or on this roster right now. That's not saying much, but he is the best quarterback we have on this roster, right? But the Cardinals did that to themselves when they decided to only keep 2 QBs. So it's one of those things, you made a big risk. You were all in on Kyler. You wanted to show him that you were all in on him. And, we got no other option. We got to ride the season off. We got to ride the season off with the next 2 games. Hopefully we don't get beat down too much. But, I mean, this game's going to be pretty interesting. This game's going to be pretty interesting. Tony, what's up, Tony? Tony in the chat says, I've seen the best Cardinals QBs throughout the years. I definitely thought that they paid Kyler way too early. And right after that horrendous playoff loss to the Rams, now I know he's a bust. Here's the thing, right? When you're the first overall pick in the NFL draft, you expect a lot. I'm sorry, Cardinal fans that came in here with Kyler Murray. I apologize that you have to be here. That's what this channel is, man. We got opinions. We tell you the real, right? We don't fluff you around, right? Except for when we were 6-4 and I was fluffing you around and saying, "Oh, we're gonna go to the playoffs." That's dumb on my behalf. I'll take that. I'll take the arrow on the forehead on that one, right? I'll take the arrow on the forehead on that one. But going back to it, man, 6 years is plenty enough, man. Yeah. And for the people out there that were concerned about paying Kyler way too early, you're right. I'm wrong. I was wrong. I was. I'll admit it. I was wrong. I thought paying Kyler Murray to begin, right, earlier was the smart move because A, it's going to be cheaper than now, right? Than now. Because right now you're getting quarterbacks getting paid $50+ million a year, right? So I was like, oh, it's going to be cheaper. But you're right. That's not the right smart decision for an organization, right? Because now we wouldn't have to be stuck. Because now we're stuck. Now we're stuck. So there's that. PBG, what's up? I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, but I feel like we're going down the same road with Bryce Young. Yeah. Honestly, PBG, learn. If one thing that I can say to you, learn from the mistakes of what other organizations have done. Honestly, you're going to see flashes here and there from Bryce Young, and he beat the Cardinals. Congratulations. But that's not really saying very much, right? But that's the thing, too. You have organizations that lean on so heavily on the little moments, right? But you need to look at the broad, like, what has Kyler accomplished in a team setting? Nothing. He's accomplished, offensive rookie of the year, which is cool. Good for you, right? 2 Pro Bowls, cool for you. But what have you accomplished for the Arizona Cardinals? All right, nothing. Accomplished nothing. And that's what people don't understand, right? Now, I've said this from year 1 and year 2 of Jonathan Gannon. This is so weird, right? When it comes down to when you're saying, oh, this is a rebuild, right? You can't have a rebuild and pay your quarterback $200 million. You can't. It doesn't work like that. But the Cardinals decided to do it, right? The Cardinals decided to do it. Now, of course, year 1 of Jonathan Gannon, he came in the last 8 games. People were excited. I honestly wasn't. I don't know if people remember, but I was actually pretty critical on Kyler Murray finishing off 3-5, right? And people were like, oh, man, you're being way too negative on Kyler Murray. Well, guess what? Has he still won a big game yet? No, not really. Not a big game in my eyes, right? I was critical on Kyler Murray in year 1 of Petzing. He went 3-5. 3-5 in the last 8 games, but I gave him a mulligan. I said, okay, this is the first year. It's brand new footwork. It's a brand new offense. Let's see what he can do. Year 2 starts around with Jonathan Gannon, starts off 1-3, and then somewhere down the line, there's a 4-game winning streak, and then you're 6-4. You open your eyes, and you're like, oh, dang, here we go. But then again, the evilness, man, the evilness of, this bye week. The bye week comes around, and we're right back in the same situation again, right? But no, it's everybody else's fault. It's Drew Petzing's fault that we're so dink and dunk. It's not. Will Drew Petzing get the axe? Will Drew Petzing be a scapegoat? Probably. Because like I said before, it's easier to get rid of an offensive coordinator than it is quarterback, right? Especially with one in the contract situation that he's currently in right now. His guaranteed salary ends in 2025. At the end of 2025, his guaranteed salary ends. So I hate, as a Cardinal fan, feeling like we're stuck, but we're kind of stuck, man. We're kind of stuck. Drama in the chat says Cardinals needs to get Fields. I mean, honestly, I know people said, I know I've come out and said, no, we don't need that, right? But that was under the understanding at that point when I said no, that I believed in our franchise quarterback, right? I believed that he was going to take that extra step. Right now, if you believe this, let me put it this way. If you believe this culture is being established the way in your eyes you feel like it's going to be good, then you believe, right? You believe in it. You believe in your franchise quarterback. To me, culture schmolcher to me. You know what I mean? It's culture schmolcher to me. Like, it doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? Because I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in what they're cooking right now. Now, 2025, can they make some big moves? Could Myles Garrett come in here and then change this defensive line? Maybe, right? But are you still going to be able to win the big games on the offensive side of the ball? That's the question. So far as yet to happen, right? Now, the only way I would see or be okay with Fields coming on here is only the understanding that he knows he's going to be a backup quarterback, and it feels something under Kyler. This whole career his whole career, he's been catered to by this Cardinals organization. Never a fear in his head, never a sweat drop in his head that he was going to lose his job, ever. So if we do bring in Fields or anybody, it's under the understanding that, hey, man, you got to get your SHIT together. I want him to succeed. I truly do. People don't think I do, but it's okay. I can care less. I want Kyler to succeed. I don't want to go through another QB. But with what he's shown me so far, he can't do it. He can't do it. Can't do it. So it's one of those things, man. It's one of those things. Shadow in the chat says culture is not set yet. And will it be? Right? Will it be? That's gonna be the questions. You're wanting to trade a sorry QB for another sorry QB. No. Like I said, and that's the thing. People want to hear what they want to hear, right? What I said was, if you're bringing in somebody, it's the understanding that you're a backup quarterback to Kyler Murray, right? Didn't I just say that? And it's going to hopefully fuel a fire, right? Right? Nobody heard that? Now, people want to hear what they want to hear. You're bringing them under the understanding to say, hey, you're going to bring some quarterback competition in here, right? You're going to bring some quarterback competition coming in here. And yeah, Justin Fields is not great, right? Fields is not great. But it's always the understanding that, are you making a move outside of him? Because, of course, yeah, no, Kyler's better than Justin Fields. Or at least, I mean, is he? I don't know, right? Is he? I don't know. I don't know if he truly is or not, right? We haven't seen this offense looked with anybody else but Kyler. So we don't know, right? Ivan in the chat says, Zach Wilson, you are an Arizona Cardinal. Yeah, no, but I'm going to stay on my stance, though. I think we need to bring in somebody here that's going to be able to actually have some sort of competitive advantageness with him. That, or actually what I would really like, right? Because those are the two options. You're either bringing in a veteran, or you're also going to, and here's the thing, Kyler is not a rookie. So Kyler's a veteran too, right? Let me rephrase that. You're bringing another veteran in to back him up, or you draft a QB. You draft a QB, third round, fourth round, somebody that you like, potentially could take the helm. I'm cool with either or, as long as we have a backup plan. As long as we have a backup plan. Got my guy in the chat says, I want Daniel Jones. I mean, we'll see. Abel in the chat says, as a Seahawk fan, Kyler Murray is more elite than Brock Purdy. No disrespect to him. Let me read that again. As a Seahawk fan, Kyler Murray is more elite than Brock Purdy. No disrespect to him. Okay. I mean, I think what Kyler Murray can do, right? The promise and the ceiling is much higher, right? What Kyler Murray can do with his legs is much higher than what Brock Purdy can do. But Brock Purdy has accomplished more in a team setting than Kyler has. Does that make sense? Kyler Murray is more athletically gifted than a said Brock Purdy is, right? So if you're talking about ceiling, I mean, yeah, you might be right on that, right? But Brock Purdy has accomplished more in a team setting, being the QB, the smaller sample size that we've seen from Brock Purdy compared to the 6 years of Kyler. That's my take. I'm taking that to the grave. I'm taking that to the grave. Chris F says, I love Justin Fields' idea. He is taller, and he's got toughness. I mean, at this point, like I said, I'm willing to throw a dart. I'm willing to throw a dart out there. Kirk Cousins is 40 years old. That's as veteran as they come right there, right? Once a Cardinals player leaves the Cardinals, they always strive. They do better than on the Cardinals. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, not always, right? Victor Dimukeje. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Victor. Wow. Robert Nikomdici. I always butchered his last name. Remember him? And he go to the Seahawks. He didn't do very good. He was a first round pick, right? We had a lot of first round picks that hasn't really shaken out to be very great. But you also do see the other side of the coin, right? Honey Badger, Calais Campbell still continue to be really, really good after the Cardinals career. I mean, there's two sides to the coin of it all, right? There's two sides to the coin of it all. So, what's up, Soul? He says Brock's been to the Super Bowl as the last pick in the draft. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. And people don't want to. They do not want to admit the facts, man. Brock Purdy has been to the Super Bowl. Now, has the 49ers been a better team than the Cardinals have ever created? Of course. Yes, of course. You're right. 100%. Do you have a better team? Yeah, but you still got to make the throws, right? You still got to make the throws. And what he has accomplished so far, I feel like Brock Purdy's had a better team successful career so far than Kyler has. Mark Jackson, what's up, man? 50 months of membership. Woo! We have to keep Kyler for another year. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. There's no doubt. Yeah. For the contract-wise, absolutely. They're going to keep him for another year. They have to. They're stuck with him. You know what I mean? Unless there's another plan that Monty Ossenford can. But no, I kind of already know how this is going to turn out. I already kind of feel it. They're going to roll with them in 2025 because of progress. They're going to try to sell us a bag of goods. They're going to spend maybe 40 million of the 100 million that we have. And we're probably going to be right back in the same situation. So there's that. Tune does not throw a better ball than Kyler. He can't even hold the ball. Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying in 2025, you can't roll with just Tune and Kyler. You can't. You can't roll with just Tune and Kyler Murray. You just cannot do that. You got to bring in somebody, whether it's a rook, whether it's somebody to back up Kyler Murray, but that actually has him fear that, hey, man, there might be somebody here if you're not going to get your SHIT together, right? Thomas, what's up, Thomas? That's why Kyler is not an X factor on Madden anymore. He used to be an 88 overall. That's funny. I mean, everybody out. Okay, not everybody. I'm sorry. Most people outside this Cardinals fan base already knows that he's not him. They already know. the biggest reason why we keep him around is because, believe it or not, in an Arizona Cardinal tenure since '88, I'm not talking about before that. Most of you guys weren't even born before '88, right? I'm talking about when Kyler has been, or sorry, the Cardinals have been in Arizona. He's probably top three. He probably is top three quarterback. If you want to say Jake Plummer and then whatever, that's opinions are going to differ, right? But he is one of the best quarterbacks that the Cardinals have had. Drafted, yeah, for sure, right? But that's what we're leaning on to. The bar isn't very high anyways, right? The bar isn't like, it's not like we have such a high bar that like it really means very much. You know what I mean? Kyler has yet to win us a playoff game, went to the playoffs once. We shouldn't have been there. And then division. Have won us a division. Division schmavision. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter to some people. You know what I mean? Here we go. You're talking about Malik Willis, right? Is that who you're talking about? Let me see. I think you're talking about Malik Willis. Let me just double check. Yeah, I mean, hey, even somebody like that would be pretty cool, right? Even something like that, Malik Willis would be kind of cool to bring in to back up. I'm cool with that too. That's a cheap deal. I'm not sure. I don't know what his contract looks like. I'm gonna have to double check to see what his contract looks like. But hey, man, I'm cool with it too. Even if the plan is for Archie Manning in 2026, you gotta find something. You gotta find something. Let's see here. Let's read a couple more, and then we're gonna close up shop here. Yeah, I'm not mad at that one. I think Malik Willis would be pretty interesting. Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. Fat Boy, what's up, Fat Boy? He says Cardinals should use Clayton Tune against the 49ers and the Rams. It's funny. I think Ivan, right? My guy Ivan in the chat. We had a round table a few days back. If his prediction comes true, it might happen. It might happen. If his prediction comes true, it might happen. Kyler is one of the problems, not the only problem. Well, that's true. Marvin is anxious. He said that he said they play faster in the NFL, so kind of lost and needs to produce the offense. Yeah, well, right now he's got 700 yards, 7 touchdowns. I think everybody can acknowledge that there's some flaws in the game of Marvin Harrison Jr. for sure. But let's see what year 2 holds, right? For being a rookie and being as tentative as he is, right? For being not fast, like people say. What's the other thing they say? Not physical enough. And man, his numbers are still pretty darn good, right? For being a rookie, still pretty good, right? Still pretty good. Let's see if we can take the next step. All right, one more, and we're gonna close up shop. Fat Boy is not watching the games. What did Fat Boy say again? I forgot what Fat Boy said. When is it mock draft time? It's coming soon, man. It's coming soon. If how I predict this next game versus the Rams is going to come out, if my prediction is right, mock draft season's coming here a lot sooner than y'all think, man. I don't think this game's going to be pretty. I really don't. I don't think this game's going to be pretty at all. I think the Rams are going to pay us back for week 2. Bookmark this. I think they're going to pay us back. So after this week, when we have the 49ers up, then I think the mock draft season will be starting up pretty soon here for the Cardinals. So yeah, man, it's the unfortunate nature of the beast. If you believe in it, cool, continue to believe in it. But you know where to go if ever you have a chance to finally actually start seeing the light. You know where to go, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm not going to be fluffing anybody up anymore. It's not going to be pretty. That's all I can feel. All right, man. We're going to be closing up shop here, though. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Do me a huge favor. Smack up the like button on your way out. We're going to be closing up shop right here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Let me give a shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. That's going to be BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sports book, BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, if you use promo code YouTube150, that will provide you with 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and 125% sign-up bonus on the following 2. That's going to be using promo code YouTube150 upon signing up. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. But ladies and gentlemen, we're closing up shop right here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to everybody in the chat. Ivan, it's Wally, Claymore, Chris, Tony, Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cardinals.